All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Shattered Glass Collection, Decepticon Flamewar with Fireglide. Yeah, this is our next figure in the Shattered Glass Collection for some reason. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they decided to put Flamewar in the Shattered Glass Collection. If you're unfamiliar with who Flamewar is as a character, both of the previous Flamewar toys that we've gotten have actually been BotCon exclusives, and I'm fairly certain that she's actually an original character to BotCon. I think that in 2005, the first Flamewar toy as part of BotCon was like a attendee bonus figure. So it was just like an original character with a fun color scheme that, you know, they made a bio for and stuff like that. Originally, she was an Energon RC repaint. And, you know, she's typically been an RC repaint throughout the years. And then the next version of Flamewar was, I think, in 2014, I want to say, and it was a repaint of the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters RC mold. So, you know, it makes sense to do her here as a remold of, well, not even a remold, just a retool, or a repaint rather, of the Transformers Legacy Prime Universe RC, because, you know, the kind of more famous version of Flamewar is that, you know, that Beast Hunters version. So it makes sense to have her be a retool of, you know, our new Prime RC, even if it's not the Beast Hunters version, it's the regular version. But, you know, that original Beast Hunters mold was just a retool of the original, you know, Prime RC mold. So it works out here. But again, you know, it's just been a BotCon character, and I don't really understand why they're putting her in the Shattered Glass collection in particular, because, like, I don't think that she's supposed to be like Shattered Glass RC in any continuity. Maybe the first one, like those colors were used for Shattered Glass RC or something like that. I'm not totally sure. She has typically been tied to RC as a character until more recently, where they've just kind of decided to make her, you know, just her own sort of character that has nothing to do with RC. Is just a female Decepticon, which is cool. We could use more of those. But yeah, again, it doesn't make a ton of sense for it to be in Shattered Glass, in my opinion. It just seems like this was a repaint that they wanted to do, and they didn't have anywhere else to put it, so they just put it in Shattered Glass, which sucks a little bit, because, like, you know, normally I don't care which line the figure is in, but the Shattered Glass collection costs quite a significant amount more than your typical retail figures. Usually the Shattered Glass figures are about $10 more than their respective size classes, because they come with a comic book with an exclusive cover, in which case here we have the one for Flamewar here, looking very nice, again doing the reflective paper thing that they use the reflective paper for the shards of Shattered Glass, so it catches light in kind of fun ways, and it's an okay looking comic book cover. But again, as is the case usually with these figures, I wouldn't pick that up for $10 if I had the choice. So it sucks that to get the figure that I want, I have to pay $10 more, because I wouldn't pay $10 for a comic book normally. And then what also sucks about her is she comes with this extra Battle Master, which is just, you know, it's a repaint, or I don't know if you could really even call it a repaint since there's hardly any paint on it, but a repaint of the Pteroxodon mold that we've seen a few times now. And I'll get into why they included this with her, but, like, I didn't need it. So it's like, okay, we're just adding on more price to the figure and adding up, and it's now like $40 for a deluxe, which sucks, but yeah, you know, whatever. Yeah, we've seen this mold before. You know, I only have two versions of it, though there are even more than that. We've got Pteroxodon here, which was the original one, and then Sights with the Golden Disc collection. And, you know, transforms just the same. You know, you flip the head out, flip this in, flip out the feet, widen the wings, turns into a little pterodactyl. Not that exciting. I mean, you know, an axe that turns into a pterodactyl really sounds like it should be that exciting, but once you've had the mold 3 times, it's it's a little bit tiresome to keep getting it. And the reason they included it in this set is the if you'll go back all the way to that Energon RC mold, it did have this big sort of like Energon crossbow weapon that it had with the figure. And then similarly, not the original Transformers Prime RC, but the Beast Hunters version did also have like a big crossbow weapon. And we don't have a current Battle Master that turns into not even a crossbow, it's more like a bow and arrow, but we don't have you know, a battle master that turns into a bow and arrow. So I guess they've decided that the axe is close enough because you could kind of like use it as a bow, except there's nowhere to actually grab it from that end. You could only have it kind of pointed forward. So I don't think it really works as an homage to that. So I would have personally preferred if they just didn't include it and I didn't have to pay for it, but whatever. Comes with the same blast effect that the other versions of this mold come with. And it's a nice blast effect. It has kind of like a nice sort of like more orange section in the middle that goes out to yellow, which is nice there. And again, it comes with the same weapon that came with the other two versions of the, you know, Legacy RC mold, just the little shuriken weapon that you can split into two. And, you know, it stores on the vehicle mode by just like pegging it into the back here, which again, I don't really think works as storage, but that's what you're supposed to do with it. And there's no way to actually, you know, like the Beast Hunters RC mold, which actually had the crossbow like integrated into the bicycle mode or motorcycle mode. There's no really way to do that, and I wouldn't really expect them to, but you know, kind of sucks. But otherwise, that's all she's got for accessories. In terms of comparisons in this mode, here she is for a standard one with Kingdom Sideswipe. Just so you can see, obviously that doesn't scale very well at all because giant motorcycle, but that's nothing new. That's what they look like together. I don't have the Legacy RC, but I do have the Velocitron Road Rocket, which is also the same mold. So that's what they look like together. And then I don't know if it, like, so if she's in, I haven't read the comic book yet, so I don't actually know how they justify this, but if she's Shattered Glass, is she supposed to be a Shattered Glass version of the Prime Universe RC? Or is she just a Shattered Glass version of Flamewar and is thus a good guy? I don't know. I mean, here she is with the other Shattered Glass Decepticons that we've gotten so far, but I mean, I'm just going to treat this as like a, you know, regular universe Flamewar who is a Decepticon, like an evil Decepticon, not one of the heroic Decepticons. Because if it's Shattered Glass Flamewar, shouldn't it be different colors than the original Flamewar? Because otherwise, wouldn't it just be identical? It just doesn't make sense to me why this isn't Shattered Glass, but that's what they look like together. To get onto transformation, first thing you want to do is just take these panels on the side here and just untab them and fold them up like this. Also, I should mention, she's got a little kickstand, you know, just like the other versions of this mold. And I guess I should have also mentioned the wheel can still rotate, so you can kind of do that just because of how it's tabbed in. You know, motorcycle functionality, you're used to it. You can flip these up. You want to take the back wheel here and actually split it down the middle and then flip these pieces to the side just like that. Then take these pieces and they kind of maneuver around the rest of the body here and flip up like that. Then you want to take these sections, which will be the arms, and just untab them and fold them up to the side. They will click into place just like that. And then take these arm guards and kind of slide them up. They're really on a double hinge in there, but it's effectively a slider. Then we want to take this piece here, flip it around to the other side just like that, and then rotate around the waist, and then it'll actually click into place just like that. Take these pieces, they're kind of tabbed into the wheels there, flip them up so they sort of latch over the knee. It doesn't really, especially on this side, it like hardly latches there at all, unfortunately. Thankfully, this piece is tight enough that it doesn't seem to really be causing issues, but I do wish that locked in a little bit better. Then you can take these pieces and just flip them up. Those will be the feet. Bring the arms down, and then with the backpack here, you want to rotate it around, and you can just fold it up like this and just have it like that if you don't want to do any parts forming, or alternatively, you can take the back wheel off and it'll just unpeg, and then you can split it down the middle and open it up like that. And then if you hinge the backpack a little bit further down, there is a hole behind her head that you can peg this into just so the wheels sit behind her head, which I think looks a little bit better. It just makes for a more, if I can get it tabbed in, makes for a more interesting looking robot design, in my opinion. And it is a little bit more accurate to like what Flamewar has had in the past too, because usually she does have the wheels behind her head, but usually they're also kind of like angled back a bit more. So you could kind of like bring down the backpack and angle them back like that, which makes it slightly more accurate, but it kind of makes for a messier backpack. So usually I just leave it like that. Usually the wheels are kind of like you know, completely 90 degrees from this, so it's not totally accurate, but it's close enough. And yeah, she looks really nice in her robot mode. Obviously, she's just a straight up repaint of the Prime Universe RC, which I don't have, so this is my first time seeing the head sculpt, but obviously works pretty well for her since she does have a history of being a repaint of Transformers Prime RC. In terms of articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so it can rotate around. It's pretty tight on mine, actually. And then can look up as well, which is nice. The shoulders are on swivels here, and then a hinge out to the side. She's got a bicep swivel, which is kind of loose on mine. About 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. The wrists can rotate, which is nice. The waist is, I think, notionally on a ball joint, because you rotate it around for transformation, and even when you lock it in, you still can rotate it a little bit, but it like weirdly stretches out this piece, which can sometimes detach it, and then it's a pain to put back on. So you don't get a ton of waist movement, but it works well enough. The hips can go forward and back and out to the side. She's got a thigh swivel, a knee joint of maybe a degree under 90, and then you can also bend that if you want, but I don't think that looks good. And again, I wish these latched in a little bit better. I mean, this one latches in okay. It's really this one that kind of doesn't, unfortunately. And then her feet can tilt out to the side, and then her heel doesn't move, but her toe can hinge up and down. And if you actually like hinge it up all the way, so it's actually like flat, her foot kind of like sits at a weird angle forward. So you kind of have to like tilt it down a little bit, so she's kind of standing on her toes, which can be kind of annoying to, you know, get her feet kind of sitting properly and at the same level, but it's not the end of the world. It's just a little bit annoying. Obviously, we can bring back on a Fireglide here, and she can hold it as an axe, obviously. And like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I really wish that they had found some way to maybe edit this so that you could like, you know, put a peg here so she could actually hold it as a crossbow, because then I would be totally in support of this figure being part of, you know, this whole package, because like I think that would look really cool. But you know, if you put a peg there, then unfortunately one of the legs for pterodactyl mode would kind of run into it, which sucks. So I don't know, there's probably some solution, but if I don't really like it being an axe. And you could kind of do like the weird sort of crossbow weapon that you can also use for this, but it doesn't really, you know, like these are facing the wrong way, so it doesn't really capture the same look as the original sort of like big crossbow weapon from either the Energon RC mold or the Beast Hunters mold. So again, I kind of wish they just didn't include the axe weapon, because I don't think it really pays proper homage to the thing that it's trying to. And it also, like, I don't know, maybe it's just mold degradation, but the handle on this one feels a lot looser than the other version, so it tends to kind of droop down a little bit, unfortunately. Also, it comes with the same shuriken weapon that it came with before, although it's not actually, there's no paint on it this time, so I don't know, it's just a circle, really. And, you know, she can hold it like that, or you could split it and, you know, attach it to the arms, or have her hold those pieces. Again, I don't really like this weapon, but if you want to store it, there are peg holes on the back here that you can just peg it into like that, and that works okay. But again, you know, it doesn't really have a great place to go in vehicle mode, and I don't think it's like a really great weapon to begin with. So personally, I just put it in a box off to the side, but that is how it functions in this mode. In terms of size comparisons with her in her robot mode, here she is again with Kingdom Sideswipe, so you can see, you know, pretty average height deluxe there. Here she is again with Road Rocket, the only other version of this mold that I have. And yeah, you know, they look good together for whatever reason they would be next to each other. And then I guess here she is, for whatever it's worth, here she is again with the Shattered Glass Decepticons. I mean, she does have a red Decepticon logo, so I guess, I don't know, I think that's more just a symptom of the fact that it suits her color scheme better, rather than, you know, her being one of the heroic Decepticons. I don't think that's really enough in and of itself to put her in Shattered Glass, but that's what she looks like with them. And yeah, you know, it's a pretty good looking figure overall. You know, like I said, I don't really get why it's in the Shattered Glass collection, and normally I wouldn't make such a big issue out of that if it weren't for the fact that the Shattered Glass collection figures cost more. And I'm sure there's some like retcon, or not really retcon, but I'm sure there's some sort of like backwards explanation for that in the comic, for like why she's even here, and if she's an evil Decepticon or a heroic Decepticon or an evil Autobot or what. But as it is, I think that would be more because they wrote her into the comic that way to justify this figure, rather than they made this figure because she's in the comic that way. She didn't need to be Shattered Glass. And yeah, I guess notionally the Shattered Glass figures like have a bit more of a premium paint scheme, and she does have a pretty decent amount of paint on her, so maybe that's just where she had to fit in terms of the budget. But even if they were going to do it that way, then I just wish that we didn't have the mandatory little axe here. Or if they were going to do the axe, I wish they had done something to it so that it could actually be more of that bow weapon, because that would actually be pretty cool if she could hold it like that. But as it is, unfortunately, no, that's not the case. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to her. It's kind of starting a unfortunate trend with Shattered Glass that I'm not too thrilled about, where it's like, oh, I guess we'll just, you know, put figures that could have just been Generation Selects figures into Shattered Glass so that we can make them cost more. And we're kind of continuing on that trend with the next one, Slicer, who granted has a bit more precedent to be a Shattered Glass figure than she does, but still it's sort of like, when they do the Shattered Glass figures, I'd prefer that they actually just be straight up, you know, vanilla Shattered Glass figures, and not like weird backwards justifications to just put these figures into a higher price point. Because like, she could have been Generation Selects, and even with the extra, you know, Battle Master, then she could have been $10 less and not come with the comic book. So I don't know, but if that's neither here nor there. Anyway, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers Shattered Glass Collection, Flamewar with Fireglide. Let me get you back into your pterodactyl mode here. There we go.